a budget workshop. So, first, Rhonda, I believe you wanted Daniel, is that correct?
Yeah, Daniel to
Okay.
present, he's got, the park and rec, his NRO park and rec, and, the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have a preference on which one to start with?
No, sir.
I've got swimming pool on top, so if that works, that's what I'll start with.
I don't have a swimming.
Yeah, it should be, it's right here in this same stack as this other one.
Oh, here it is, sorry.
All right, really no, the most significant changes we made in the swimming pool budget is we added to part-time employee salary, but we took that amount out of maintenance and repairs. And then there was a slight increase, $765 for FICA and Social Security because of that increase in those part-time employee salaries. So right now, as it stands, that budget shows an increase of $765.
Then can you explain what you was talking about earlier, because there was part of the pool that doesn't work with the kiddie area?
Yeah, so there's multiple repairs that are needed, large scale repairs that are going to be needed at the aquatic center. And in part, some of these were put off because the thought and desire for years was to build a new aquatic center. Well, things changed, finances changed for the town, and that's no longer the desire. So now we're going to put money back into this facility to make it better and last longer. So there's multiple things like concrete repair, sand filters, slide reverberation, and then the big PlayStation feature and resurfacing the bottom of the pool. The PlayStation feature, it's mainly metal and fiberglass, and all the piping is metal. So what we've seen over the last 5 or so years is some of that piping underneath the skirt of it that actually feeds all the neat parts that shoot water out has started to rust and deteriorate to where those connections don't exist anymore. So some of those features don't work. So what we need is to eventually replace that play feature. So it's something that was brought up when we met with Mr. Finley and talked about all the different capital projects long term that we want to do. That particular one is on the TBD list to be determined funding wise. But even we need to get some realistic numbers to even know what we're funding, because the number that I gave Mr. Finley to put on here is just a guesstimate. It's based upon conversations that I've had with people at Spear Corporation, but you don't really know until you actually get into it. Mm-hmm. So I think probably a wise step for us is to start getting numbers from them, as much as they'll give to us without it becoming a cost to us to get that stuff. So some of those steps, not just that, but the resurfacing. I mentioned that the sand filters need to be replaced. We have issues with concrete throughout the restroom facility that needs to be dealt with. Slides work fine, but they need to be refurbished. You get some leaks in the seams and that kind of thing. So those things need to happen. Stuff that you wouldn't worry so much about if we thought we were going to build a new pool. But we need to start taking care of this stuff so we can make this pool last longer. So I really think the next step is for me to start getting some concrete numbers, and then we'll bring it back and see if there's any way to move stuff around on what Mr. Finley prepared for us as far as what needs to be done first, second, third. Because my concern is if we make the play feature more of a priority, we wouldn't want to resurface the pool before we did the play feature, because then we'd end up resurfacing part of the pool twice. So we don't want to spend money just to have to spend it again. So we just need to see what our options are out there. And we might come down on a smaller play feature so that maybe it's more affordable to us, but it still gives us something to have out there. I don't know. They have so many options. If you've been to any pools around, like, there's so many different things. Even if you think about splash pad areas, it's kind of the same concept. Mm-hmm. One of those type of units, because those could sit in a pool as well. So
Daniel, what kind of shape is the concession stand and the equipment in?
The concession stand is okay. I mean, it's really small over there. Um, how many of you are familiar with that space? But it
It's not very big, that's for
no,
sure.
it's really small. You can't sell a lot out of it because it's just restricted on the space. And without a wholesale change in that facility over there, it would be hard to
No room for
expand it.
expansion.
And I don't know if all of you were on the council when we did it before, but we did at one point bid out rebuilding that whole structure, the restrooms, but the numbers that came back were really high, and we decided we'd put some money in to the facility instead. And that's where we got in our situation with the way the floors are, because we did a patch job, and what we really need to do is pull all that concrete out and
Okay.
redo it. And while we have that all exposed, we've had issues with drains and things in those restrooms, so it will give us the opportunity to do some other work that needs to be done.
That really needs
So
a nice facelift in there, doesn't it?
it does.
The
It does.
restrooms, yeah.
It's really frustrating the way that it looks, because you can paint it, you can do many things, and your work is erased in a matter of days, it feels like. So, but yeah, so
Daniel, we have, I know this season, I think particularly, I mean, we've heard people coming from, out of town. So,
we've had a great season. I shared with a few of you before the meeting that we're 50 people away from hitting 20,000 visitors to our aquatic center this year, which is
That's
the
awesome.
highest number since I've recorded the numbers over there. So in 20 years at least. And my guess is probably it's a record for that aquatic center in its existence. But it's been a really good year. We've had a good staff over there. Yeah, so we just
so when are you
We've had a
gonna
good
start
season.
working on this, to put a plan together for all this? Or will it be done prior to next season?
Well, this was based upon discussion with you all too, to just make sure this is the direction we want to go. Because these are, numbers on a page, but until you guys give me the go ahead to start pursuing it, then that's what it is. I'll start making calls this week, next week, to try to get,
It wouldn't hurt,
People start
just to
to-
see what we're looking at.
What's your number one, project you need to do? What is it?
at the pool.
Mhm.
It's a loaded question. One of my biggest concerns over there is the sand filters. I did have a company come, because sand filters actually should be treated, cleaned, have new materials put in every so many years. And so I brought a company in, but the state that, especially the one that's indoor in the pump room, is in with all the rust and all, just it's where all the chlorine and acid travels in that room. They told me that they would not refurbish that sand filter. They said they would replace it, but they will not refurbish it, because they're afraid if they start on it, then they won't be able to get it back together, because they'll run into more. They said, I'm better off to just keep running that thing on a prayer than to have them refurbish it with the way it stands. And it's working, and it's going to sound bad, but we had our acid pump in there leak, and it sprayed up against that sand filter on one side, probably for an hour before we came in and caught it. And we shut it down, and acid has a good way of eating off rust and stuff. And that section where it sprayed on there and we cleaned it up, that sand filter looked pretty good on that side right now. But so I don't know if it's that bad, but just appearance-wise, it made them uncomfortable, mainly because they didn't want to guarantee a job that they didn't know they could follow through on, which I understand too. So sand filters are expensive. That'll be an expensive process, and there's different types, so depending on what direction we go. But the prices could be different too. Different mediums that can go inside those. But that's important. Obviously, the play feature is there's nothing worse than being standing out there and watch a kid turn wheels that don't do anything now because the water no longer comes out. I mean, it's like, it's awful. It'd be like having a jack in the box and no jack ever jumps out. That's what I feel like when I'm watching it. But so that needs to be fixed. The surface of the pool, it's rough. I mean, that's what happens when a surface like that isn't redone every so many years. I had a mom come up to me. She had her little one in there. Her feet were ate up from walking around in that pool. Granted, it's a little, 2-year-old, and their feet are a little more sensitive, softer skin, that kind of stuff. So that had some to do with it. But it's a rough surface. You're not going to slip on our pool. I'll tell you that much. It's got good texture.
It sounds like everything you gave us or what we even mentioned to you, all of it's important.
Yeah.
So,
We just got to get going on it. I think we just dreamed for a long time that we'd be building a new one, so we wouldn't need to do these repairs. We wouldn't want to spend this money, but we need to. We need to start investing in this pool, or we won't have one. So.
I couldn't agree more.
In the FSP, Scott did a lot in there.
And we need to refer back to that.
The Riverboat Fund, there's $30,000 next year for sand filters. There's $30,000 for slides in there for next year. And out of the CCD fund, there's $100,000 for the resurfacing.
Okay.
If that 160 would do those 3 projects.
Yeah, and that's where we got to start getting some concrete
Yeah.
numbers.
So
But-
that money is earmarked for that if the council is,
Most definitely. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
be.
And there are relief joints in the pool, those tile lines that you see going through. And there is a way to phase in the resurfacing to where you just go to like the relief joint. So there is a way we could do a majority of the pool and not do the section that the PlayStation sits in. So if we find out that play feature, we need to wait X number of years, that we have to milk through it before we can replace it, then maybe we could still get some of the resurfacing done. But
I think that's a big
my
draw.
concern though is if we'll end up spending more money because we'd have someone out there twice doing the same job, just different sections.
How often do
So-
you resurface the pool?
How often should you?
Mm-hmm.
I have been told every 10 to 15 years, and we're going on 30. So,
Oh, good.
and it just depends. Like when I had somebody out 5 years ago, and they walked in and looked at, they weren't doom and gloom. They're like, "This isn't terrible. I mean, it's going to need," they said, but they weren't like, "This is an unsafe surface. You shouldn't be using it." It's just dew. It's that diamond bright surface that's on there. It comes off. If you ever looked at our filter baskets or our Dolphin vacuum cleaner that we use in the pool, you see bits of like that white sand almost that's coming off of it. So the fact that it's still pulling stuff off, that means there's still surface on there. So we got that going for us. So.
Mr. Finley?
Yeah, just wanted to mention, I don't remember if I mentioned it for that capital improvement plan. If you look through that and you see things that are marked CBD, that you think are higher priority. When I went through this, I didn't go through this with any bias in mind. It was, this is how the math fits, this is how, these projects fit into these numbers that we have available. So, if you have projects that are higher priority, if you want to do things that are, pool related that are TBD, we can try to work those in. It just may pull from, other projects. So that's kind of where weighting those priorities.
Well, I think you, like you said, Daniel, dreamed long enough, and we're gonna have to basically take care of what we have.
Mhm.
Like I said, I think that PlayStation is a big pool there. I mean, I think it's a big draw.
Well, especially since we got rid of the kiddie pool that's there.
Exactly.
It's the one play feature besides the slides. But your 1-2-year-olds, they don't play on the big slides, so
Mhm.
that's what they enjoy.
So, yeah, I think it's time we, like, for instance, look at our other items here and I think my opinion is if we know we have work to do at the wastewater treatment plant, and we know we have work to do at the pool, right? I mean, kind of two top things here, so.
Okay,
Two different places, but you gotta get them worked on.
that's right.
Okay, what do you wanna do next, Daniel?
I've got the park and rec budget next, if that works for you.
Mhm.
All right, went with the 3% on salaries, that's what you see with that full-time. Bump that up, which also affected the FICA and PERF, so see increases there. Also added $1,000 in maintenance and repairs, 3,000 in miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is actually broke up into 4 different areas, and Rhonda made that work on this document this time. And so it's not just miscellaneous, it never has been for us, but that's the way it's always looked. It's always looked like it was just that 429000 count and with a big number next to it. But it's broke up into different things. That's where we pay for like our landscaping, flowers, trees, mulch, chemicals, that kind of thing, events and program supplies, shirts, awards, decoration, entertainment, rentals for those things, facilities, use stuff like, common stuff like toilet paper, paper towels, trash bags, cleaning supplies, salt for winter, all that stuff, all of it comes out of that line item. So I just wanted to speak to that because it does look like a big number
The
until you
facilities,
break it down.
Well,
That
that number
number, that-
versus
Yeah.
he's broke
Right.
this number
okay, it goes all into that
Yeah.
85,000.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so the miscellaneous supplies was actually that 88,000 total.
Okay.
And it's broken into those 4 items.
Yeah, I see that. I didn't know if he was focusing on that.
Oh,
He was going line by line by line.
And then we bumped telephone up just because that's also where IT services come out and with just the adjustments we need to make with what our costs end up being with Van Osdale and those things. And then professional conferences, I bumped that up because I do have a desire to send some individuals to some training, talked about sending Morgan through a master gardener class and those types of things. That could be pulled from somewhere else if we need to find a way to cut that back down, but that's why that is in there. There's a raise in general liability insurance, so you see that bump there. And then we added to utilities, water and sewer utilities to get us where we need to be for the usage that we've been having, and then another 1,000 in equipment repairs. And then it shows a decrease for machinery and equipment, but I will be honest, that's a little bit of dishonest because we had an encumbrance that made that number bigger last year. So it's really not a decrease. I mean, but there's another spot we can potentially look at if we needed to decrease machinery equipment. That's there for a truck or another gator. I mean, we have very old equipment at the Parks Department. Before I came over, I wrote down the years of our trucks, and we have like an 08, an 02, an 04, 09, 2000, a 99, an 01, and an 06.
What's
So-
the van? The van looks awful. I am embarrassed to say that is, when you drive that around, it's like that.
It's an 02, the van is. I was graduating high school when that van
You
was.
agree, don't you?
That's his fast vehicle.
Oh,
It's a
that's
classic,
scary.
Daniel.
And I'll say this, I don't care about, my guys do a tremendous job maintaining stuff. The only vehicle on this list that we bought new was that 09 truck, and we've taken care of it, and we still use it every day. I would be okay if you just have these fine utility departments buy vehicles more often and we get newer hand-me-downs. I mean, whatever, if it works, we'll use it. And I'm not being picky, but that new Gator has been a lifesaver. We need a second one. Both of them were 08s that we had before that, and so we got old equipment. We make it work, and that's why our equipment repairs and our maintenance and repairs budgets are so large too, is because we got to fix stuff. We are blessed to have people in this department though that can fix stuff, so that's cheaper than having to take it to places all the time, but that's what we do. So,
So I have a question, since we don't have any ball games anymore, and I've even heard that with the biddy ball, we don't have any biddy ball, nobody signed up.
for the fall league,
Yeah. Or even in the summer, I think you just have the two youngest groups sign up, or?
no, our spring league, we had multiple age groups, but this fall league, we only had the T-ball and 6U or
Yeah.
midgets, that we had teams in those two age groups and none other. And that is becoming an issue. Greenwood, their fall league didn't go this year because they didn't have enough teams. It's just the travel ball has really,
Is that what it is?
it's really destroyed it. Rec league overall. And that's why the teams that we did have were the young ones because they're too young to be in travel ball.
Travel ball.
So rec league, the spring league, the numbers have gone down. They were down this year. I think that's still a combination of that. And I mean, it's a fact that we've got less kids in our community too. I mean, those numbers are decreasing as well. So
So do you need to keep your head count as high, since you've really cut out a lot of your park stuff, summer stuff especially?
well, when we get to the NROs, you'll see that I'm not using my tournament staff and all was paid out of those. So those numbers aren't being spent. The good thing about the NRO budgets is if money's not coming in, money's not going out. Because if I'm not having a tournament, I'm not paying anyone to be there or buying supplies for that concession for that weekend. So those budgets have all decreased when we get to them. You'll see that.
What part-time employees, Daniel, come out of that $150,000?
So that's all your regular park maintenance people. So all the kids that I hire that, mow, weed eat, work landscaping, so help at all the parks and those types of things are, some of our youth club staff will sometimes come out of that. Our desk staff that we always have at the park office, that all comes out of that. The community center staff comes out of that.
Okay.
Thank you, Daniel.
And I mean, there's probably room. It's been a couple of years since we've been fully staffed at the park and rec, so that part-time staff budget could be shaved a little bit if need be too. I had that discussion with Ron.
You actually could just about use a full-time desk staff, I think. I think that would be beneficial to you. I don't know if that's doable right now, but I think that would be a benefit for your department.
You have to find somebody first. don't you?
Daniel, could you explain the increase here on that part-time from the 2024 dollar amount up to what you had budgeted for here in 26?
So the budget, if we went back to the budgets, I don't think you'd see an increase. I think what you see on there is what we spent.
Okay,
So I think it's always been budgeted and we've offered
well, you
more.
just kept that.
We just have never cut it out of hope that we would, because I could actually hire more people in the summer for our maintenance positions, but it's just hard to get in.
Is that something that maybe you could cut, and then if you needed to come back and ask us for more money, you could do that?
I mean, that's up to you all. If you all would be comfortable in something like that, I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, I don't have a problem if like I said, if it,
But it just seems like an awful high amount, when year-to-date, you've only used 53.9, but you're gonna budget 150.
are we looking at that correct?
Well, 53, that's in June, right?
That's year-to-date.
I mean, I thought that's, is
Year-to-date,
that the
that's-
6 month?
That was as of June 30th.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's just
all
half
right.
a year.
Yeah, his, that budget has been, let's see, the budget was 130 in 2023, and it went up to 150 in 24.
Well, here it says 99.
And that's how much was
That's how
spent.
much was-
Oh,
of
the
that budget.
activity, I see what you're saying.
In '25, the budget was 155, then it went back down to 150 in 2026.
Okay.
And right now, this is a little bit more accurate, he spent about 76,000 now.
Okay, okay, all right.
You think you'll break 100 by the end of the year, Daniel? If you-
Based on that, it depends if I can keep people going. I mean, I'd like to, because that means I have workers. The time will tell. Right now I have 4 part-time maintenance people that are still giving me some hours. I lost a lot when school went back. And the desk will stay consistent there, and the community center stays consistent as well there, so. There's wiggle room. We discussed taking it down to 140 just to do something, so
So
just show some
Yeah, that might be
decrease.
good, just to show some decrease.
So
Maybe
this
partial rush.
includes community center employees?
Yes, they're park and rec staff. So they're part-time staff.
They're year round.
They are, but there's 3 of them that share the hours. But it's consistent.
Yeah, okay. Even if you went down to 125, I think that more than cover it, based on previous years.
Where you might run into issues if you cut. And then if you cut from one budget in the general fund, if the fund is struggling, a lot of times money will just automatically get into the general fund, which is that fund that needs the revenue. So
Like a blues levy.
you have a choice, but it's the council and our treasurer's choice of where that levy was moved. But if that budget starts declining and the general fund budget starts increasing, you're gonna just move that levy to the general fund to get that.
So you think it's just leave it where it is, in case he
I'm
does
not
need
saying
it?
that because I'm all for balanced budgets, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, just to keep that in the back of your mind, if you cut the budget and start saying, oh, we should move levy from park and rec general, maybe keep in the back of your mind, oh, we still have additional staff that we may need, so maybe we should keep that levy. You can always move the levy.
And that's if he goes over what he budgets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which historically, he hasn't gone over 125.
Municipalities, they adjust their levy all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
From year to year, I mean, they'll adjust it to build this up. Like, say Park and Rec, they'll adjust it to build them up. If they build up, they'll adjust it back. Everybody does it.
The problem that Edward's going to have is if this split structure hits the way that it's showing that it's going to hit, the journal is going to be all the revenue that it's get, because it's missing all of that with it. So hopefully by then there will be some sort of replacement for that revenue, or opting into the 3 county lit rates, maybe you can generate more than, what was got. So that's where, the general fund is going to use a lot of that.
So would you be okay with trying that for 125, Daniel?
Don't you? We can try. I mean,
What do you got,
He's a, yeah, he
He's
proposed,
budgeted 150, and to date, he's at like 73.
oh, okay, okay.
He's at a fund goal, but he still has a deficit of $40
Mhm.
million. So levy, we can't do the levy.
Thank you, Daniel, then we'll make note then of that. going to the 125. Is that the only one that anybody else wanted to
Does
discuss?
anybody
anything
have any
else
other
on it?
questions?
Mhm. Any questions, Brian? Okay, Daniel,
All right,
what do you want next, sir?
youth baseball,
Yes, sir.
so youth baseball, I just did a decrease of $8,000 overall. I decreased fuel, maintenance and repairs, miscellaneous supplies, and equipment repairs to equal that $8,000. It's kind of up in the air because if we see some tournaments start to come back, we need this budget.
Yeah,
But these NRO budgets, we just don't spend out of them unless something's happening with it. So, I mean, as you can see, year to date spending for this, the only thing we've spent out of it's miscellaneous supplies, and I can just about guarantee you that's like chalk and diamond dry that we purchased with it. It's not been, there's not even been any staff that's been paid out of this. So
This is a non-VLCF modifier, it's all on road. So we did have to do additional preparations. We did get a bunch of tournaments back. You did additional preparations. They still have to be uploaded to the gateway, but the VLCF is automatically approved.
okay.
Excellent.
and we'll see. I've got 3 softball tournaments on the books to finish the year out that look like they're going to go. The same person that brought it, Alliance Softball, is already asked for some dates for next year, so maybe it'll start to build. The USFA guy he wasn't able to fulfill any of the dates that he asked for this year, but he's wanting to offer like basically free registration for teams next year that come to Edinburgh to play, to just try to get teams to start to come over to play in their organization. So we've got some directors out there that are wanting to try to get tournaments. We have, I mean, our diamonds were nice anyways, but they've had a year of rest pretty much, and they look really good right now. I'm biased.
Yeah, we need to push that.
Yeah, so
That
it's-
team, Daniel, those teams that come out there, I told. with
the
state-
cricket,
Yeah, we don't pay anybody to do anything other than be there on the
No, I mean,
complex, right?
we do obviously some trash and bathroom type stuff, but we don't have a concession staff. It's
Yeah.
only one person that comes out there and does a little bit. So they pay diamond rental. I mean, that's all we get out of there, unfortunately, because they won't eat any of our food. But it's something. It's something going on out there. So I think we'll have had maybe 7 cricket dates before the year's over. And they're nice. I mean, I have a lot of phone conversations with guys talking about cricket. So it's different, but it's not what we want long term because it doesn't do as well for us financially.
Yeah.
But it's something, which is better than nothing. So any questions on the youth baseball?
Nope.
Next one I have is youth club, and I left it the same because that does our youth club and our before and after school program. I didn't change anything. We are seeing some reduced counts in that as well. So another year down the road, I might cut a little more off of it. We'll see. Youth club went well this year. Because we switched to kind of an all day type thing. So and they went over to the aquatic center 4 days a week. So that really helped with our numbers. Still not what it's been historically. So, but it's numbers in this town, in our school, aren't what they were
Yeah.
historically. So there's a struggle there, but we'll keep fighting the fight, and we'll make cuts where we need to. It's like our base numbers were down, and I cut 3 positions. I mean, that's just the reality of it. It's not what you want to do, but if you're not getting the revenue to pay for it, then you don't have it. So that's why I left it the same. Yeah. So any questions on that thing? Next is concessions. I decreased concessions by $15,000. I took it out of miscellaneous supply and equipment repairs. We decreased it some last year too. It's just, I don't know that, we'll see what happens. I'm hoping we have to increase it back next year. So That's where we're at. And then basketball, I decreased it by $2,000 to a whole $4,000 budget now. It's really been great working with the school. I mean, we go over to the elementary school, we get to utilize their facility. They don't charge us anything. They even put in new goals now that you can lower, so we don't even have the expense of having staff that has to put those those goals on the rims to lower it. So, which is nice because this is a much safer way too. I mean, we put a lot of extra clamps and all on the old style, but this is nice. It's cleaner and it just looks better. So grateful that the school did that as well. Yeah. Any questions on that?
Thank you.
Thank you,
I think
Daniel.
that's all mine.
You did great.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, one who's you.
There's nobody else left to present. Everybody has presented. Scott, do you want to review, what you sent me today?
So,
And
earlier today, after a conversation with last week over the weekend, I went in and updated all the revenues, and updated the disbursements. So remember when I presented the FSP, we did not have 2027 expenses in, we just had a 3% increase across the board. So I have updated the FSP, and what we have from you, think about that.
I had copied it, but didn't give them to you. Don't give it back. I'll grab them off the desk.
So what you will have in front of you is a budget summary that reflects the information in the FSP. So the disbursements are now in there. So I feel
Be able to see it.
Several columns. But essentially, it's a budget summary that's going to show you beginning fund balance, estimated beginning fund balance for 2027. So we work on this 18-month budget calendar. So we thought to estimate the remainder of the year, which is what we can start with 2027. We estimate the receipts and disbursements, and then we estimate the fund balance at the end of 2027. And what we look at is, are your receipts balanced to your disbursements? Do you have a balanced budget? If not, what are your net cash flows? Are they negative? Are they positive? Are you adding your cash balance and taking away? Are the amounts that you're eating into the cash balance, are those recurring costs or are they one-time capital costs? We don't mind paying capital one-time expenses from cash balances, assuming that we have enough of cash balance. But we don't want to live those cash flows with recurring personnel or so on the sheet that she is going to hand out to you, we've got all of this, A through D. A through D, I just explained to you, that's the beginning fund balance, column E is going to be your net cash flows, again, whether you're adding to your balance or taking away, negative number means that you're at deficit and taking away from your cash balance. F is your fund balance as a percentage of your disbursements, or as I typically call your operating balance. You would like to see that number anywhere between 15 and 50%. You can look it up good. If that line is red, it means that you're below that 15% operating balance in that fund. Line G, and then those other two columns off to the side. So G is going to be your budgeted capital expenses. So we tend to think of capital expenses as non-recurring, even though they oftentimes do recur. Those are expenses that if you don't have the cash balance to do them, you just don't purchase them. So that's why we consider them non-recurring. So the line that says recurring expenses balance to receipts, if that's a no, it means that you have a deficit budget. If it's a yes, it means that your recurring expenditures are values. The column to the right is suggested budget reductions. That's simply going to be your net cash flow plus the capital expenses in the blue line to get to what your suggested budget reduction. So looking at general, for instance, the net cash flow is negative $232,739. So that means if you approve the budget as it is today, and Steve's coming as we expect, you would use $232,000 of your capital. $145,000 of that is for capital non-recurring or non-operating expenses. So really, what you need to cut is the 87,739 in order to have a balanced budget to operating disbursements. If you want to have a balanced budget, including the capital, you need to cut $232,739. Any questions on that? On how that's laid out? Does it make sense? So, obviously, we have all of the budgeted funds and then all of the funds that are included in the FSP here. So, really, for 2027, this looks pretty good. I don't see any major issues. You know, we have a couple of the public safety, the fund balance there that gets down to 6.7%, but you don't. Your lit public safety fund isn't necessarily an operational fund because we use it mostly for capital, so it doesn't necessarily have to have an operating balance. Similar for NBA restricted, that's a restricted fund that's used for capital, so it doesn't necessarily have an operating balance. CCI, the same thing, and then debt service. Debt service is always going to hover around that 15% because by statute you can only levy so many dollars and you can't just hold cash in a debt service fund. That number that says that it's a negative 7,000 right now, I think I need to recalculate the debt levy after I make some changes. That number is probably closer to about a deficit of 3,000. But it's always going to be a deficit because you cannot levy additional funds to cover circuit breaker credits. So circuit breaker credits are always going to be, a portion of the circuit breaker credits are always going to be applicable to debt service, and you can't make those up. So at the end of your debt service term, you'll have a few $1,000s that you will have to pay from another fund because you won't be able to levy those. So in the FSP, I think we have like $3,000 at the end that will have to be paid from somewhere because you're going to be short. That's all I have on that. Happy to answer any questions on it, or I can show anything in a different way if you'd like, but we will, again, we'll show another full FSP later in the year. But the budget summary is really kind of when we do request for adoption, so you can kind of add a glance to our balance when we still have deficit.
So this is, as of everyone has presented in the last couple of weeks, these numbers.
Everything is in gateway, so I assume that's what.
I'm pretty sure that's, has
Okay.
everything.
So I pulled everything from the gateway for a while, I didn't hear it into the state.
Okay.
Does Sarah Beth not have a budget to present? No?
She's under the council, or no,
She's
edit.
edit.
Oh, okay.
Sure, that's paid, I'm just going to edit. Correct. And then the Blue River,
Bartholomew County.
as well, would be doing that.
Yeah, and John and I did talk with Doyne earlier today, a couple of cuts to his budget that we could do. When we figured his budget on salaries, the police officers that are in the 77-foot fund, the perk that is paid for them is based on a certified salary. And a certified salary is what a police officer with 20 years would make in a year. So when we ran his numbers, we picked that number up for all of his employees. Not all of his employees are making that amount.
Okay.
So, what was that? His budget, for his salaries is $1,182,000, and it actually could be cut by 70,000. So that will pretty much take care of that 87,000. We can look around and find
Yeah,
somewhere else to, oh yeah, and then the perk was about, what, 15,000 over? Yeah, 20,000 over, okay, so we may be able to make up that 87 just with some cuts to the police
Yeah.
budget. So we will get those numbers figured and we'll bring that back to you on Monday. Just have it a little more concrete.
Once those are uploaded, we can take away this button, and I can just approve the report.
Okay. And I think I had anything else, was there anything you had? Oh, yeah, the 77 fund perk went from 23.3% to 26.5%. That's why their perk amount, that line item went up. And because we had that, I had one extra police officer in there when we figured it, so that's why it could be cut about $20,000. So, for the 77 fund, that cost alone is $224,000. And then for the civilian perk, that cost is $34,700. So, and then my budget changed a little bit because I had to add some more for health insurance for an employee, and then I rounded out to Social Security by $25 just to make it a round number. The council budget changed a little bit. We removed the $11,800 for merit board expenses. I had to add $18,000 for general liability, and we added a 3% increase for the council. That amounted to $1,220. So the total change was a $7,555 increase from what I had presented at the last meeting. The fire department budget, it changed from $1,966 to $1,944. We took out the $50,000 for the vehicle, which is going to be paid from public safety, added $26,000 in the part-time. It was suggested to raise the pay to $20 per hour rather than the $19 per hour.
Yeah.
And then, so the total change of their budget was like a $21,000 decrease. And the street budget changed, again, because of the general liability increase of $6,250. But I did change it in Gateway. On the bond, I increased it a little bit because I picked up the revenue numbers rather than the breakdown of the bond and interest payment. So,
I adjusted.
okay. And that could have been just poor eyesight on my part. That's about all I have.
Making headway.
Yeah. And we'll get this and go over some more of it on Monday night. Have more stuff updated.
That's at 6 o'clock Monday?
Yeah, 6 o'clock on Monday. And then our public hearing is, what, September 28th? It's not the first meeting in September. You do have Gateway open?
Will it be September 28th or October the 12th?
I think it's the 28th and the 12th. Okay, oh yeah, we've got to the 12th. I'd had myself set off and she was getting nervous, like, I'll be here. She didn't want to have to do that production.
You'll be fine.
No. Are you looking at
I
that?
have 9:28 at 6 p.m. for the public hearing, and 10:12 for the adoption.
So that gives us
Yeah.
another meeting on the 31st, and then if there's any other changes on the 14th.
That means you have to have your budget advertised by 9 weeks.
Right.
Sounds good.
That's,
Council, you have any other questions for either Rhonda, John, any of the other department officials? Okay, any other business to discuss?
Turbo, yeah.
Yeah, I've got.
Yes, she had.
Let me give you, we received today the plans for the plaza.
No, these
This is,
different.
yes, a little bit. This is after our initial concepts. So they sent the 3 initial concepts, and then we went back to our stakeholders, reviewed internally, and then met with them again. This is revised. So what you have in front of you is, the first page is the revised concept. On the back side of that is color coded with the phases of implementation. The third page, or the third image that you see is when we were to have farmer's market, a pop-up event, something like that. That's how the booths would be set up and displayed. The next 2 pages are the different elements and amenities of the plaza. So you can see, what that entrance structure would look like, what kind of stage we're looking at, tree grades, or tree gates, the splash pad or water feature of what we're looking at. And then the back page, the shade sails, the lights, the street lamps, things like that. Those aren't exactly, but that just gives you an image of what we're looking to do. So one of the things that I wanted to, with Ryan not here this evening, so the plaza has been part of our Ready 2.0 grant application. And so we are under a timeline with that to get things submitted, to get things in on time, to get the budget done. And so one of the things that was added into the plaza was, I think Scott reached out a few weeks ago and said, is there something in capital improvements that you would want to add for the plaza? So when we got finally a design and was able to go through, because before from 2025, really, we were just kind of pulling numbers of what is this going to be? And so until we actually got a design, it was hard to put real numbers to it. So that estimate was about $300,000 more than we had anticipated or we had planned for when we didn't really have an actual design. The design that the Eskenazi Art and Architecture students did was really just that initial concept that enabled us to go out and get grant money to help fund this project. So we put in $300,000. I have asked for $300,000 from the Johnson County Community Foundation. I am pretty confident that we'll receive that and we will not have to use any town funds, any more town funds for this in addition to what we've already allocated for. There have been things like the lights and, talk to the water department about, the water feature, what that might cost. And so, the electric department has, we've talked to them about purchasing the light poles and things like that, and upgrading the electrical system there. It's a 200 amp service, and we would like it to be a 400 amp service. And so Kevin's given me some estimates on what that might cost. So those things are also built in there. But since there was a budget increase from the initial Ready 2.0, we had to put that in there, and then I do need a funding commitment for that Ready grant. And so the one that was given to me was actually for Ryan to sign, but this is very time sensitive. And so I was wondering tonight if the board could take action, if Miriam could sign that or whomever could sign. Like I said, we've put the $300,000 in there. I've asked for that from the Johnson County Community Foundation, and I'm confident. There's been other revenue sources too for grant funds. I mean, that's my MO, is trying to find grant money for everything. So I think since I first started with the town in 2019 in this role, I've been able to get between $500,000 and $600,000 in grant money. So that's what I'm trying to do for this project as well. And a couple of weeks ago, I met with Patronicity, and it's a crowdsourced funding through the Indiana Community Housing Development Corporation. And so they will match up to $50,000. And so that's something that I've talked to Festival Country about. That could be a public campaign where we're seeking sponsorships. The Festival Country said that they could probably do more for the plaza as well. And so we could hit that $50,000 pretty quickly and then get matched $50,000 for another $100,000 for this project. So I feel pretty confident about that. But I do have a letter that the Ready 2.0 committee that we work with put together, and it's just writing to confirm the town of Edinburgh's financial commitment to South Central Indiana's Ready 2.0 project for the Edinburgh Plaza. The town of Edinburgh intends to invest a total, and so the number is $366,500, and that was the land purchase plus the $300,000 in edit funds as the public match to the project. And then for Ryan to sign, but I could edit this. They sent it in a Word doc, so I could edit this, but I do need to get that to them as soon as possible. So I don't know if that's something we could do this evening, or if you want John to sign or whomever.
Since this is not a regular council meeting, that should have been brought up, I think, in the regular council meeting, but I'm not an attorney.
This is a special meeting, and I'm not pretty sure you can, it's a public meeting. so.
Can't?
I think it,
Or when Miriam should.
So you just go ahead and follow along with the regular motion?
Yeah, just need a motion for,
Make a motion for Miriam, Vice President Miriam Brooks, to sign the
Funding commitment
funding
for Ready
commitment
2.0.
for Ready 2.0.
second,
Thank you, council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None?
All right, thank you. I'll go edit that and print it and get that to you.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Is that all, Sarah Beth?
I believe so.
Okay. And these are the drawings that we stick with now then, right?
Correct. If there's anything that you all see, we told them we would take a week, send it to Festival Country and some of our other stakeholders, Johnson County Community Foundation, folks, Conroe Foundation, Mydor Realty, anyone that is invested in this project to have any insight. And we've got our Parks Department as the maintenance crew kind of looking at things and making sure that they have any feedback. And our Main Street group, we meet on Wednesday, so that board will be taking a look at this as well. So any feedback, we've still got kind of one more review process that we can do. But they are putting all of this into CAD design and things right now.
so Beth, where are the blocks from the dam? Am I missing them? Well, I know where they are now because I went out and took a picture.
Oh, where are they on the picture?
Yes.
So if you,
Go to page.
they are, what number?
That should be on the right-hand side, it tells you the different things.
Sherry, number 6. Go to, on the first drawing, go to
Reclaimed it.
number 6.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah, number 6.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you,
Right, number 6.
Oh,
yeah, so you can't really.
that's cool.
You
Is
can't,
that
yeah,
using the
so
bricks?
they would be all around
Yes.
this dome here,
Oh, okay.
kind of making
Okay, I
a
see it.
perimeter wall, and then they would be between all of the trees.
So is that where the dam water feature is going to be?
So this design actually doesn't have the dam water feature. I know, yeah.
But
It's-
it was left, there's a spot on there where they recommended we could add that in the future. if we so.
Yes, they did put
Okay.
that in the revised design of, yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, that's
So the 6 is the whole beige, or is it peachy color? Where? Is it the whole peachy color?
What she said.
Right here?
Anyway.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, council, any other, excuse me, audience, anyone else in the audience have anything for us? Okay, then, if there's no other comments or business, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion, I'm gonna beat you this time.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and staying so late.